So our shoe paste, 5 inches. All right, so that's what's coming out of the oven. We haven't changed that. So we need to have a garnish that is smaller than 5 inches. Generally what we're looking for is about 3.5 inches and about 1/2 inch wide. So what that looks like, if you had a stencil, it would look like something like this, okay? So we're looking for pieces that are finger to finger here is 2.5 inches, and it's 1/2 inch across the top, okay? And we're gonna put one of these little tiles on each eclair. So how many tiles do you need? How many eclairs do you have? Do your math. You got 12, make more than 12. If you have exactly 12 eclairs and you make exactly 12 little tiles, something's gonna happen. You're gonna eat one, someone's gonna steal one, you're gonna drop one. And then so make quite a few more. I usually make 10 to 20% more. Then I got choices, if one's broken or thick, thin, whatever, I can always remelt the chalk and use it again. No big deal, you don't wanna have to do it twice. So this is about the size that we're gonna be looking to do, okay? We're looking for a flat tile, black chocolate. So it's coating chocolate that we're gonna use, okay? We're gonna melt it. Generally, when you're working with chocolate, you don't melt it more than 50 degrees. And you work with it maybe around 30 degrees. So if this is up at a boil, how hot is a boil?
100.
100. And we need to be 30. What's the difference for the spread?
70.
70, that's huge, right? So generally what we do is you take the chocolate and chop it up quite fine. You boil the water, and I've got water here. You can see the steam barely coming off of it. If I put it over there and I've got it chopped up fine, that's plenty. I don't need this over boiling. This shouldn't be over boiling water. It's way too hot. And the other thing you want to watch with chocolate is the water. If water or moisture gets into the chocolate, it's going to seize it, start to seize it like concrete. And that's going to make it hard to spread, hard to cut. So when you come off of the steam bath, I always put it on a damp towel. So then when I go to pour it, there's no water going onto my chocolate. Okay? So that's a trick that we use as well too. Also, sometimes you're going to work with different types of chocolate in the chocolate lab, right? Moisture is kind of the enemy of chocolate. So a lot of times what you'll do in there to keep the moisture down, if there were 17 people in the class and 17 people heating up water in that room, it would turn into a sauna. It would be steamy, right? So a lot of times what pastry chefs will do is they'll take a rag and they'll put the rag over here. So that way the steam comes up, hits the rag and goes right back in. And then we still have the warmth melting the chocolate. So that's how to keep the moisture out of the room, keep it in the bowl. So that's a possibility as well, okay? So we're going to use this coating chocolate. This is from the last class. It comes in a gigantic block. I think when you guys first arrived, the blocks were coming in. So what we do is we melt it, we chop it up. Once we're done with it, we put it on a flat sheet tray, and then I like to cryovac it. I'll show you what the cryovac machine in a second. So that way, if there's any dust in here, it's all nice and clean and ready to go. All right? So this is what we're going for. I'll show you how to make this garnish. We're looking for a flat tile. So acetate sheets. When you have acetate, it'll be flat, it'll be shiny. You could cast on parchment paper, it'll also be flat, but it'll be very matte, it won't be that shiny. Okay, you can cast on aluminum foil, shiny and like textured. Or you can take the light fixtures down, those plastic things down, and sometimes use those, run into the dish machine, clean them up, put a little spray on it, and get some texture. Bubble wrap as well. There's lots of different things you can do. Okay, so this acetate can be found just in the dry storage, and on the left there's 500 sheets in there. So it's in the open your eyes section. That's bad joke. Okay. So we want to do a half a sheet. Okay, we're going to work with a half a sheet. It's plenty. Cut it in half. If I'm right-handed, I always cut with my right hand going away. If you're left-handed, put the seam on the left side. Okay, so we'll take it in and we will cut it, with a paring knife or a kind of a sharp knife, whatever you have. And we're working with one sheet, okay? One sheet like that, one sheet like that. So I need to make a slab, and I need to start to make my pieces. If I'm going to do 2.5 inches, right, by 1/2 inch, can we guess? If you guess right, congratulations, you win. If not, use a ruler, okay? So if you need a ruler, we're going to use a ruler, okay? I'm going to go check those guys out. So I'm just going to spread this. I'm going to take a little bit of my chocolate. And the way I'm going to work with this is I'm going to spread a little bit away from myself, and then I'm going to push it towards myself. Chocolate will melt with heat, and it will cool down with anything that's cold. Okay? You guys that are here, touch this table. Is it hot or cold? Cold. Is it hot or cold? It's cold, right? Touch the wood. Is it hot or cold? Not that cold, right? Not this cold. So if I put chocolate on the metal, it's cold. It's gonna set up fast. I gotta move quick. If I want more time, the wood is perfect. So if you're working somewhere, try to work on wood. If you only have stainless steel, take a plastic sheet tray and put it on the plastic sheet tray, which is called a bridge. So some chefs will do this. They'll take, this is dry, so working on here is going to give me more time. It's not going to set up as fast, okay? Does that make sense? You guys on your wood tables, you'll have plenty of time, okay? To be able to work with it, not a problem. The other thing we got to do is, sorry. There's two sensitive parts in your body, okay? One of them is here, one of them is here, okay? So this tool, put out your wrist. Hot cold. It's cold. So now, this is going to set my chocolate. I'm using a cold instrument. It's going to make it cold. So if I'm on a cold table and I'm on a cold spatula, that chocolate is going to set quick. Quicker than if I was here and if I used a little bit of friction to warm it up, right? So what you use for the job is going to determine what the timing of it, okay? So I'm giving this a little bit of heat now, right? Just by giving a little friction. Some pastry shops will use warm water and they'll dry it off. So now we've got something that's warm. That's great. If I was going to spread sugar, like poured sugar, and it's like lava, I would take this and run over a torch. I'm really a hot instrument. I'm spreading like pecans or spreading different things around. So the right tool for the job and maybe the right temperature is important. Okay. So you'll see me from time to time checking things on my wrist, my inner wrist here. I'm looking for, is it hot or cold? It's just, I'm looking for a number, but hey, eggs are cold, warm them up. Butter's cold, warm it up. Things like that, okay? So that's what's happening here. So we put a little chocolate, we bring it towards myself, 1 or 2 times. We want it flat. Every time I go over it, as it's setting, it's gonna be marbleized, marbleized, marbleized. We don't want it, we want it nice and flat, okay? So, chocolate's melted. It's gonna go on like so. Okay, we only need just a couple of pieces. That's gonna go there, kind of left and right. And then I bring it towards myself, right? Just in there like that, okay? And if it's around maybe 30, 32 degrees, it's gonna flatten. If it's super hot, it's going to like ruffle it, all right? I can pick up the sides and I can go like that and it's gonna level, flat. So if you notice, I'm not doing anything to it. Just 1 or 2 times, it's gonna level, right? As it sets, if you keep going, it's gonna look all ruffled, right? So we're waiting for it to start to set. So once it starts to set, my first move is I'm going to draw a line here straight, and I'm going to go straight across, right? Representing this line here, there, and there, okay? And then I'm going to start measuring from that corner out, all right? So what I'm looking for is this to set pretty even. As it's starting to set, you can tell this side's starting to set a little bit quicker, okay? But generally what's happening is the air is coming from this fan, a little bit of draft, so that's going to set quicker. So I want to turn it. So now it'll help it, right? Help it move it around. Okay, you can see that part is starting to set a little bit faster. As soon as it sets and catches a skin where I'm able to touch it, that's when we want to start, okay? If I go here, it's not ready yet. I don't know how long, it's just by look and by feel, okay? So now we want to start to think about starting to score this one. We're going to use a metal ruler. I like to use the metal ones because again I can get hot or cold out of this if I want. Okay? I don't like to use the wooden ones because the wooden ones, after a while, you'll start to lose pieces of the wood. Look at this. Looks like a dog kind of chewed on this or something. Where's the rest of it, right? So that wood will eventually end up in your food perhaps, right? So you want to be careful with your wooden ones. The other ones I like to use a plexiglass one. That one won't heat, but I can see through it. If I need to see through and what does my color look like, what is, you can see through. This I cannot see through. So just waiting a couple seconds here. This is starting to set. This is starting to set on this side. Okay, and the other thing you can do is you can also, right underneath this chocolate is the same temperature of the chocolate. This is going to be colder than what it's sitting on. So if I really want to hurry, I can just do that. Boom. And it's going to drop a couple degrees. When I'm ready to go, I can move it back. So just kind of a quick sleight of hand will start to work. So this is starting to set up nicely over here. And what we'll do is we'll start to make our move as this is set. So if I put it down and it's got a skin on it, it won't stick. If I put it on it's wet, it will stick like crazy. You don't want that to happen. You just have to make a little bit of time. So we take my very, very expensive $1.50 knife and I drop my line down so like that. Okay, so there's my first line. And then we're going to drop the next line over here. Okay? So we're just scoring this chocolate coming across like so. Okay? Let's stick a little bit. There we go. So I'm going a little bit early. We'll wait a couple of seconds. So now what I have is this line and this line going across. So here I need to measure down 2.5 inches, right? So from this corner, 2.5 is here. Okay? 2.5 plus 2.5 is
5.
5. Next one,
7.5.
7.5, right? Perfect. So we take our thing and we go right across, relatively straight. Okay? And we come across here. And we take the next one. This is just set. And we go across the next one. So now the next one I could measure half inch, half inch, half inch. But as I get older, I think my eyesight is starting to go. My wife tells me that all the time, but I'm stubborn and I don't believe her. So I don't like to deal with small things. What I will do is I will measure 1 inch going across. Okay? So I'll go 1 inch. What's this trick? If I go 6 to 7, that's an inch. That's 8 is an inch. And then 9. And then 10. And then 11, right? So now if I cut this guy down 1 inch, okay, roughly 1 inch. And then I cut down next one 1 inch. What's half of 1 inch? Okay. So you see how I can measure once? And then what I'll do is I'll come down and I will pre-cut this one. Right down the middle. It is right down the middle. If you're uncomfortable pre-cutting it, just drop your finger right roughly right down the middle. And then I can do twice the amount of work faster, right? So we've got our pieces that look like this, looks like that. Okay? This last little piece of plastic, the other half, use it for here. Okay? And then we take this guy and we flip it. Right? And we want to keep it nice and flat. So we'll let this sit overnight, okay, on the rack and roll. Those rack and rolls, the top half was for your morning class. The bottom half is for us. Okay, so anything that's dry, pre-measured salt, sugar, cinnamon, chocolate work is always dry. The chocolate comes from the storeroom. It's never in the fridge. We said the enemy of chocolate is moisture, so we wouldn't put this into the fridge. There's moisture in the fridge. And then what we want to do is put this in between 2 sheet trays. Okay? So we take this one and we put it here. One person's there. Put your name there. Put your emoji symbol, hashtag whatever, gang symbol, whatever you want to do in there, so you know that it's yours. All right? And then we need a little bit of pressure on there so this does not curl overnight. So this is dry. It's a little bit damp here. All right, we're going to take this one and we're going to put it just like that. Okay? It sits on there. Now, we're the only ones that know what's under there. It's a secret, right? So we want to put a little tag on there that says chocolate work here, do not disturb, or something on there, because the morning class might look over there and go, oh my God, the afternoon class has all the plastic trays. We need plastic trays, and they grab them, oops, they broke all of our chocolate work. It happens all the time. But if you don't put a sign there, there's a reason why we're doing this, right? So we can put one person's there, and if we're standing next to each other, you put yours here. And then we put it there. And the next guy, the next guy, the next guy. We'll leave it alone. Tomorrow, we're going to peel the plastic off, and we're going to add it to our eclairs. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah, Chef.
So what we'll do is, once we get going, we'll maybe have one, this is almost ready to go, maybe one steam kettle on each table, and just chop up some coating chocolate, put it in the bowl, melt it, dry it. If you don't get to this today, not a huge deal, that's what you do tomorrow, okay?
Yes.
Something extra that we can do. The last thing I'm going to show you today is the pastry cream. So let's flip over to that side.